Side control. So we're working on kimuras this week, so we're gonna hit a couple kimuras from a bunch of different entries and the like. Because I personally myself, I love kimuras. I think they're one of the most universal techniques that basically is in the game. I think it's kind of amazing because I think it works best from the positions that are garbage, and it works the worst in the positions that are fantastic, but they're great feeder systems. So side control, if I'm in here, I'm going to switch into reverse kesa, which is actually becoming quickly one of my favorite versions of side control. So I'm going to bring my arm, I'm going to bring it over. If you go into the side of his neck, it's not wrong. I like getting in and kind of pinning his elbow into his side. Then through here, switching my hips so that my body weight can become a little bit heavier on his chest. And his frame tends to stay here. Okay? This hand just kind of plays and floats, so that I'm preparing for my mount and the like. But you'd be amazed at how often when this arm is here and they realize that there's not a whole lot going on that they can do, then there's times like at open mat, I can make eye contact and be like, hey Grace, watch this. And then as we sit here, almost like clockwork, as they get kind of impatient, that hand will switch from one side and they'll think they're gonna come in and grab my head. It's kind of crazy, but it happens all the time. So when I'm here controlling, as soon as I feel that hand getting ready to make the switch, they'll bring it to the front and now your kimura is engaged. Those horns.
And his hair.
So from this position, it's gonna be incredibly difficult to finish. So now that I have it, so one of the first pieces that I do is as I'm in this position is I give him a little pull. Because they're going to try to trap it on their hip, give it a little pull so that now I can bring it into my position for side control. So on this particular one, we're going to go into, assuming that he's trying to fight me a little bit. So I'm going to take his wrist and I'm going to pull it up into his armpit as deep as I can. Then I'm going to open and slide my hand in like I'm doing a rear naked choke on his arm. So right from here, now I'll walk and I'll just start to put pressure on his shoulder on this side. So now I can come in, start to make my elevation through here, and then I'll walk to the opposite shoulder and make my lock from here. My goal is right now, it's not really so much that I'm trying to rotate, I'm trying to pull the tip of his elbow up in the air. The rotation under is okay, but from here, if I literally pull the tip of his elbow up, then it creates more of a front chicken wing to the front and goes after the shoulder. So again, as we're in, I go over the top, swim into reverse kesa. As soon as I feel that hand go to come over, get ready to capture the wrist. This is where it almost always tends to go. So I'll lock, pull, to get off of their leg, back to the ground. As I make my switch, push the hand up as high into the armpit as I can, open, and slide in like a rear naked. Okay. Now through here, I'm gonna give him a little bit of a lean, and I'm gonna start to walk towards his head, and then drop my chest right on his shoulder. That's important. Control the shoulder, so that now when I pick up his elbow, the lock is a lot easier. All right, let's go back and forth. The attempt at the front headlock. So in this one, we're going to do it from the defensive posture, the person on bottom. So when Pablo's coming in, generally speaking, most people when they come in either go two hands to the neck. That's almost guaranteed that they're just going straight for the attack, or they don't really know what they're doing. Or they go head and arm. Okay? Head and arm, so they're hedging their bet. One's for control, one's for the attack. So always remember the one that goes into the neck, that's got to be your primary focus as soon as it comes in, which is good, because that's actually the one I want. Because I want to be able to trap it, and then I'm going to start to manipulate that arm as I start going for my kimuras. So as soon as I'm in here, and Pablo starts coming in, the moment that hand comes in, okay, go back. My hands are here. The moment I feel one of them coming in on the side of my neck, that tells me my hand that I should pre-stage. Okay? Don't leave it on this side of your chin and allow their hand to actually make contact with your throat. So once I'm here, it's the same thing I would do. Right now we got kickboxing going on in the other room. If we're teaching how to slip, my hands are up, and when I'm slipping the punch, I put my hand on the other side so the punch goes this way and the hand is there to make sure I can help guide it. So all I'm gonna do is the same thing. When we're here, as soon as I feel it coming down, I'm gonna put my hand to the opposite side. So as the hand comes in, it will go immediately into mine and will never or should never get access directly to the front of my throat. Because if that happens, maybe he is strong enough to power through because he's already got a connection to the windpipe. So as soon as I'm here and I feel that hand coming in, so once I make connection to it, you see I'm pushing it away from my face, and then I'm going to come in and go into a burrito grip onto his arm. So I've got one at the wrist and one on almost like a baseball bat. So right from here, he's almost always going to start to attempt to move on because right now there's not a whole lot happening. So I'm going to shift my head to the other side, go into side turtle. So this is what I'm looking for. This position, I'm still holding on to his arm. So now I'm going to feed my hand inside and go over the top. So when all this happens, we're not going to hang out. Okay. So I'm going to feed my hand inside, go over the top. When I make that connection, I'm going to sit my hips, and then this is going to be my entrance to get in for the kimura. Now, I also have a butterfly with my left leg as it came under. So my anticipation is not to finish him from here. Okay? It is possible, but my anticipation is I lift the kimura and I lift the butterfly so that I can take him over. Okay? Whether you want to land in half guard or side control, that's kind of up to you. Okay? Now again through here, high elbow theory says the higher the elbow, the less the rotation. But also the part that helps me in my high elbow is getting his wrist to his armpit. Okay, I'm going to pull. It's going to be predominantly my right hand that's going to pull to bring it up high into that armpit. So now through here, if I start to make my rotation, it's going to get a lot more pressure. The other thing is now I'm actually in a much better position for the actual rotation to occur because it puts it into a more natural position for me. So it's a part I've been getting into with my Americanas and my kimuras is when you make the double wrist lock, is getting yourself into a position where the one that grabs the wrist is in the position to make a straight line pull. Rather than trying to pull elbows in this way, going here and making a straight line pull, which is a lot stronger. Because anytime you're trying to pull anything at an angle or in a weird arc or the like, it's always a little weak. So anymore, instead of keeping him out here, when I pull up, I'm pulling the elbows going higher, but I'm pulling the wrist closer in towards the armpit itself as I elevate instead of trying to keep it out here. So again, he comes in, as soon as I get that chance, make sure, control, feed my head. So I'm not here. I feed my head over the top. Through here, open my hips, slide inside so that my butterfly can make its connection, and use the kimura to shift him. Pull to bring it up nice and high. Like I said, now through here, this one's actually in the position where I could tap it with one hand if I want, because the other hand's almost irrelevant now to make my lock. You see it? Yes? Get to a burrito. Shift, go over the top, come inside. Okay, at this point, this is fine. I'm still going into my kimura trap. So even if at this point we get to here, I can still beat him if he gets up faster than me. Okay, because the kimura through here always can push him down. Or you can hit and then make your transition over the top. And again through here. Take that wrist, elevate the elbow into the high elbow. And again, now through here, it almost becomes super easy. With one hand, like I said, I can hit the necessary rotation when I pull that nice and up into the armpit. Paolo's gonna take my bat. And so right off the bat, we do exactly the same thing. If this hand is going to attack me, this is the one you had better start defending. So this is the one that I need to lock up and make sure it cannot touch my head. Now, this being said, again, statistically speaking, Grace, his preference would be to fall to the choking arm. Okay, so yes, I'm controlling the choking arm, but I'm not necessarily on my preferred side, statistically speaking, Grace. But my trap is not done. So as we're here, there's a lot of cases where he will bring this hand in, and he might actually look for like his one-on-one or something of that nature. Okay, so now what's actually happening is because I was already on his wrist, I have now technically a 2-on-1 because he's grabbing my wrist, but I'm grabbing his. So that gives me now the ability to slip my other hand in and grab his wrist. So I'm gonna start to make my shift to limit his ability to continue choking me or attempt to choke me. I'm gonna get my hips on top of his leg. I don't wanna slide completely off because the moment I do, he gains mobility faster than I would like him to. But I'm gonna start to pin and I'm staying on top of that knee. Now it gets down to a point in time where he has to make a choice. Does he continue to try to fight for something that doesn't exist, or does he now start to attempt to potentially mount me and move on? And this is what I'm preparing for. So through here, if I can, as soon as he starts to try to move his legs, to start trying to put me into the mount position, as he makes his climb over the top, now I transition to push the hand to the bottom and make my lock. Again, do I care at this point whether or not he makes his leg over the top for mount? As long as I have his arm, I don't care at all. Because again, the most metal way of jiu-jitsu is making him move himself. If he wants to continue trying to mount me, the kimura right now is going to start to prevent him. And then as I start to push, I can then use it to transition into the top position. It's only going to work though because you have to keep his hand low. If you allow that hand to climb up by your neck, you're fighting a battle that's going to be too difficult for you to overcome. So that's why when I grab his wrist, I'm pulling it low. He grabs the one-on-one, I grab his, and I'm keeping it low. Okay, I'm keeping it in the bottom position. Again, now partner, you're going to find, as long as your hand is still attempting to go behind my neck, your motion is limited. You have to make the choice to let it go, and that's my canary in the coal mine. Okay, I know that's an old reference, but that's my litmus right there. When you let go to pull that hand out, I know you are preparing to come on top in a much more aggressive fashion because you just let go. But once you let go, I'm free too, but I still have my grip on yours. And that's where it puts me technically one piece ahead. So again, he locks me up. Control and keep it away. I screwed up and I went to the side I didn't want to. Okay, now right from here, he could, I mean, a lot of people will go for that one-on-one to start trying to make that connection. I'm still going to defend, start to scoot. Now through here, I'm connecting to him. Now, the part I like to do though is with my head, is while I'm here, I know if I keep my head tight to his and I screw up, put your arm around my neck, I hear this is already going to suck. Okay, so go back. So when I'm here and I make my scoot, my head is shifting slightly into his forearm. So now it's limiting how far he can go, and he has to now really strain. It's a small shift, it didn't take much, but at least it's limiting him in the process. Here, there's no strain in in my neck at all. So now he has to start making that choice. I'm sliding. As long as that hand is behind my head, he's going to have difficulty. And when it pops, that's when I go to his hips. And then once we're up on top, I like to go to that same thing. If you can, get the hand towards the armpit, high elbow, and then you see it? So the trap, he takes me the way I didn't want. Okay, start to free up. Okay, I'm not going far. I'm just putting weight on his leg so that it's going to be difficult for him to move. Then while we're here, I put my hand in. Now I'm grabbing both of his wrists. So now he kind of feels as trapped as I do. So now I'm going to keep making my shift. But again, through here, if Hans wants to get on top of me, the arm that's behind my head is going to make it very difficult for him. Okay, go ahead and start to mount. So when we let go of that one while he's pulling, instantly when I let go, this one pushes and this one shoots. So then we make our connection. Again, through here, I don't have to do anything. I'll let him just do all of his motion. I'll let him climb. Keep going. Keep going. Because once the kimura's in, as long as, I mean, even through here, to be honest with you, even if he grabs on the inside of his thigh, it's not a big deal. Let's give it a shot. 1, 2, 3.